In entertainment news, McLovin says he is still McShocked that he has a McJob at the Dan Patrick Show. Cody?
That makes two of us, Brianna. Anyway, California continues to struggle with a massive drought that has left climate scientists placing a very large amount of the blame on two very large suspects. The chubby cannonballers take pride in emptying an entire pool of its water supply with a single cannonball before taking a little break and emptying the fridge, garage pantry, and the keg. Ooh, ouch. Anyway, the wet bandits are still at large, and Brianna sounds like a great time to start conserving.
I thought it was just me and my long showers.
Oh, no, don't be so hard on yourself. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight. On the East Coast, you'll be watching the National Frog Jumping quarterfinals. And on the West Coast, it's the box score.
Starts right now.
We'll see at 11. It's great because they jump.
Which one do you want?
They jump, and it's a lot of fun. I put a lot of money on the table.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score.
Hello and welcome to the box score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in Milford, Connecticut. Second day back from a week off. McLovin, you had a dynamic comeback yesterday with your new do, but today, for some reason, you decided to bring nothing to the table to keep that hot start going. Why was that?
Wow.
Isn't my hair still doing the same thing?
Similar.
Well,
Not really.
yeah.
Yeah. You kind of went back to just your old haircut.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Well, it's a matter of doing this. This is, and I did a lot of that yesterday. As the hair grows in, it won't spike up.
Yeah, it doesn't have the wind.
But it's only really been 20 hours difference. I mean, I don't know how much your hair grows, but if I'm no math major, but it's only 20 hours since it was perfection.
You can't tell that it's doing something different now? It's
is it doing something?
There was like a certain, poofy wave on this side. That's
like
not
the air
there
was
anymore.
blowing.
Yeah.
What was there? I still think there was a blow dryer involved yesterday.
I think I did a lot of this yesterday. Is it back?
It's going backwards, but it's not. It's not where. Yesterday was like you left the lot with a brand new car, and today was like the car is still new, but it went through a couple mud puddles, and you're like, oh, it's a new car.
And it's got some miles on it already, so it's not, blue book.
Right, and the value drops when you walk off the lot. It just drops. I mean, it's a fact.
It's a new car.
But you look great, other than that.
Well, I think the vacation hangover is spreading out to everyone. Dan had a little problems off the top, and it seemed to filter out to you guys through the rest of the show.
It's Dan Patrick.
Welcome to the program. It's hour one on this Tuesday. Man, got ahead of myself. That was a great, quick first hour. It's hour one. Monty Davis, the New Orleans coach. Monty Williams, I should say.
And not only is it poking the bear, you just come across like a big sore loser, like you're making some kind of excuse.
Cleared your throat there?
I did. I thought I
shut it off. You had time for the comment.
I did.
Just so we're totally transparent here, I'm going to give you an over-under, Dan. From Hawaii to Tampa, it's 4,600 yards. I'm going to go over-under for
Miles.
What did I say? Yards?
Yards.
Oh, yeah, miles. Thinking football.
See, why would you guys pick these three completely non-consequential moments out of the entire 3-hour show? Clearly 0% impact on the show. Like, who cares?
But negative gets ratings. The box score is about ratings.
Yeah.
They're trying to make their way, and it's like football. If a guy throws for 4 touchdowns, we don't talk about it. If a guy throws for 8 interceptions, right?
Did Dan hour 2 in the beginning? I mean,
that's an anomaly. He usually doesn't start the show.
I feel like the producers of the box score are waiting for us to screw up.
No question.
Wait, are you new here? Are you just joined the welcome to the team?
But I feel like they're having to push the envelope a little bit.
There's
Maybe dig a little deeper
To what?
to find screw-ups. Like those screw-ups, I mean, that's pretty much a B+ performance from us today.
Yeah, it was
But
solid.
that's all happened over in a very short window of time, and they needed something for this segment to talk about how we're not fully back or something from vacation, so they found the yard.
But we do it on the show.
The throat and everything.
Yeah.
Well, there's no excuse. You're back on Monday. There's no we're rusty, anything like that. We're here or not. But I noticed Fritzy. I knew there was an issue with Fritzy, and I wish I would have called my shot because I knew you were going to have a throat clear issue. Because usually usually I could hear between 4 to 7 throat clears per comment, especially an early comment.
Yeah.
See, you could back me up here. And today I just heard a little, and I was like, oh, Fritz is gonna say something, so I kind of eased back. And when I heard him go in, I'm like, oh, he's not loose yet. He's not loose. I was not surprised at all that you gagged on yourself.
I thought I had enough clearing done, but obviously
I was actually
still
impressed.
something in there.
He is improving on the cough button technique because he did use the cough button. That 5 years ago could Frizzy have done.
He's only been doing
that. I gotta tell you though, like cough button wasn't really designed to be used mid-sentence.
Yeah.
That's not actually the way it's supposed to work, where you're talking and then you go ahead and finish your sentence. That's not really the way it's supposed to go. That's sort of the way we use it.
It doesn't sound like a dramatic pause. It just sounds like
really
something's going on with you.
Still, we could choose. My point is, we could choose to focus on the positive. Hey, Fritzy's getting a little bit better. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
For 5 years ago, I mean, definitely my screw-ups are getting. I mean, they're relatively. It's all about the direction you're headed.
The odd behavior didn't stop with Dan and the Danettes. It trickled down to the phone lines today when Grizzlies forward Zach Randolph dialed in.
Hi, Zach.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
I don't know if you heard Paulie's description of you yesterday.
Yeah.
He described you as efficient. What do you think?
We hung up on it.
Zach, did you accidentally hang up on him?
And I think it was your hand.
Oh, it was? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were upset that Paulie described you as being efficient. Is that a compliment?
Thanks, Paulie.
That was another one of those where at the initial moment I'm like, not again with the phone issues. I'm gonna get killed for this somehow. And then I'm like, is it possible that Zach would have just as a joke? Paulie was chatting briefly with Zach just to say hi. He's been a fun guest in the past on the show. So I don't know if they set up some kind of cute little bit where we're gonna talk about what I said about you and then you're gonna hang up on me. But knowing that we've had some phone issues,
can you imagine if all this time, all these years,
happened.
like the last 8 years or whatever it's been, it was actually just a bit like, hey, some point, can you just hang up? And then we'll call you back. And it was just coordinated all this time with like, hey, could you just hang up? And then we'll call you right back.
That would suck a lot.
That would be my, I don't know what word you call it.
I would call you would be the greatest
genius
radio producer of all time.
Yeah, that's caused a
if
lot
you
of
had like an
aggravation.
8-year random bit running.
Todd, you're getting awfully paranoid. Like, I don't think you know like what's real and what's not real.
It's because what's now been added to it. First, it's the concern about do we have the right guests and enough guests for the show. Then it's when we get the guest on.
Will they actually finish the segment?
Are they going to be on a speakerphone, or is it going to sound clicky, or is it going to just not sound right in the air? Then the next thing is, are they going to get disconnected altogether? So what used to be something I can deal with, where is the guest going to show up or call on time, and is it the right guest to have at that time of the day, whatever it is. Now there's all these technical things on top of getting the guest and making sure the guest is on time. Now it's technical things, and are they going to get?
Is that why we went so light on the guest today?
And yesterday. So another thing that's very interesting, I keep a lot of notes, like really random notes on things, where I keep track of things.
Like
in the past,
what sneakers someone wore every Monday.
But in the past 3 weeks, we've had 5 guests in the 11:20 segment where their phone has dropped. And it's really weird because there are timing issues in radio and stuff like that. We used to have ISDN lines. Those are the things that connect. And they used to drop every certain amount of seconds. And there's just weird glitches you have. So in that 11:20 segment, we've had 5 guest drops in the past 3 weeks.
Wow.
Which is not a coincidence. It's actually
Todd's fault.
No, yeah, it's completely Todd's fault. But it's a technical issue that hopefully is being addressed. But it is weird that it's happening at the exact same time.
We will have to investigate that. Keep an eye on Fritzy and keep your finger on the dump button. I think someone's going to go off here in a second. Hey, you know who's going off? The Ram 1500 Eco Diesel on its competition. Oh, it can tow any and everything you need to haul, and it is perfect to carry you to any adventure. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. God's glory, Ram. Welcome back to the box score. Reds manager Brian Price absolutely lost his yesterday when he dropped 77 F-bombs at the media. My goodness. Seton, when was the last time in your memory that you dropped that many?
15 minutes ago, maybe. I've got a terrible mouth. And I'm actually embarrassed by it, but I do absolutely nothing to actually try to change it. So yeah, I'm not good.
Do you guys ever swear in front of your kids? Like, let's say you drop your phone and it.
I definitely.
Because it's such a natural reaction, and all of a sudden your kid's just 15 feet
They
away.
think it's the greatest thing.
Oh,
They
you look in the
giggle.
back seat and you're like, oh boy.
And they think somehow it's an opportunity to like they can repeat what you said. It's like
Sure.
like that's some kind of invitation. It's like to go run to their mother and say, Dad said, and then
Yeah.
like repeat it. Like
They'll
it's
rat you out.
A free pass.
My son's move is to say, like, Daddy, I know this is a bad word, but I hate this or whatever. And I say, oh, okay, pal. Well, I'm glad you acknowledge that it's a bad word, but that doesn't mean by saying I know this is a bad word. That doesn't mean to say it.
As compared to my 3-year-old Emma dropped the other night at dinner out of the blue. She didn't blame me, but all of a sudden I got a glare from
awesome.
the wife. Yeah.
I taught my oldest kid is 6, so she's almost an adult. I taught her how to use the phrase.
Almost an adult.
What the difference between kick ass and badass? Like something kicks ass and something can be badass. Those are just
totally. Yeah, they're completely.
Yeah,
different.
but they could be confused. But she uses them not a lot. But she honestly.
I'm gonna say that's totally inappropriate, Paulie. I'm gonna call you
I
out
don't
right
think
there.
so. Like
Those are okay. But if you say like, the teacher's a real pain in the the homework,
Right,
then you're
see,
in trouble.
that's more of an insult. Like I said, Payne got a new car for Christmas. I go, Payne, what do you think of this car? She goes, this thing kicks ass. I go, it does kick ass. That's the proper way of using it.
I have a problem with that. I
Really,
think
that's
it's
opening the door
too young to
Says
just
the guy whose 3-year-olds are dropping already.
Well, it was an appropriate
Glass
situation.
houses, my friend. Glass houses.
Right.
Yes, but I didn't teach her to say that. I pretended that it wasn't me. I said it must have been. I said it must have been the baby.
Like if your kid said Ben Bernanke sucks at his job, then it's in your wheelhouse of.
That I'd be nailed on because the babysitter is not going to drop a
Right.
vernacular.
Hey, McLovin, how do you teach your children to just sort of work around these bad words?
You mean like you do is like Dan has to do as a radio, like talk around?
Well, I guess if
I would ask Paulie.
If your kid
That's
drops a
wheelhouse.
swear word, you got to be touchy how much you tell them it is a bad word.
Yeah.
I just say, hey, no, don't say that kind of stuff. And make it sound like it's no big deal. But you say, hey, you can't say that word because that's bad. Then they're like, ooh, this
makes
is
them
bad.
want to say it even more.
It brands that word.
All you can do is give them some,
in my head. I don't know if I'm doing it the right way.
Give them some other words like darn and shucks and much weaker words or something. If you feel that angry that you have to say something harsh, here's some words that you could use instead. Or
We had I had a situation when Kieran, my son, was a little younger, and I think he was saying, and he looked at me and he goes, and I said, what?
Just to test you.
I said, what did you say? And he would look at me and he would go, and I'd be like, buddy, I don't understand what you're saying. What is that word?
You said it again?
And I just kept acting like I didn't understand what he was saying. Like, what? I don't understand. What is that word? I don't get it. And he hasn't really used it since.
I had a little nephew that was pronouncing Kermit the Frog, Kermit the. We thought it was the funniest
How
thing
are we
ever.
doing
We
here?
kept making him say it, and then until my uncle came in and didn't appreciate that we were having his son say Kermit.
But 3 or 4 times.
But it was hysterical.
Kermit
You guys are all talking
Kermit
about the soccer player Fouquet, right?
Fouquet.
We made him say it at least 20 times. Kermit
it's
who?
Fouquet?
Yeah.
Kermit the what? Kermit. We just say over and over again. And we were hysterical laughing. I'm calling the rest of the family. You gotta hear this. Who's Kermit? Kermit.
Actually, I don't know if I can bring this up. I don't know if I can bring this up. There is this small town near where I grew up, and there was a little deli restaurant, and the name of the restaurant was Kunths.
Oh my
And it was
God.
pronounced in a proper, nice way. But I guess, I remember this pretty specifically. I was like, hey, can we go over to Blank's Corner? That's what it was called. And everyone's going, no. I'm like, why can't we go? Like, they're like, no. I go, can we go over to? And I kept saying the word over and over.
That's about as questionable.
It was a very questionable word.
That's at the top.
And I just remember all the adults going berserk. But I also remember some of the adults really laughing at what I was saying. I was
hysterical.
like, everyone's just going crazy with
How
what
do
I'm
you not
saying.
laugh at that? I just think it's great.
So you have great
better than that.
hotcakes, as I would assume. Hey, Fritz, you got a lot of during the first hour for clearing your throat. I mean, how did that make you
Sure
feel?
did. I was pissed off because it's just you try to make a joke here or there. It's trying to find your way around the show to talk, and then these I got some around me that feel like they need to comment on every thing. This isn't funny. This is not. You're talking too much. You're not talking enough. What with the phone line? Fix the phone line. Are they on speakerphone? Are you deaf? Can you not hear little clicks that like I didn't hear when I was first talking to them? But these scumbags just don't let it go, and I'm like, they know I'm already stressed out. I got gastrointestinal issues that I'm dealing with, and enough with the phones. I'm stressing about the guests and all the that comes with it, and all the logistical that makes me crazy on a daily basis. And I got to deal with the phone lines.
Logistical. was a great punk band in the 80s.
Yes, they were. I love the early stuff. Well,
now I'm
good luck with the
boys and girls, if you're still in the room,
Somebody's
stay
got
with
a really
us. It's
terrible
Know Your
day
Road
there.
next.
Shay and Irving. Shay, how are you, buddy? What do you have for me?
Hey, part-timer, where the hell were you?
A little vacation with the family, just getting to know them again.
Whatever, man. The ball boy for the whole week?
Yeah, well, sorry about that.
The whole week. He talked about Seinfeld for damn near an hour the first day, Danny. I had to turn it off.
Welcome back to the Box Score. Shay and Irving is no fan of Chris Mannix and had to put up with the ball boy all week. Hey, Paulie, how did Chris Mannix do?
Very well. Chris had some fun. What I like about Chris is that he knows our show and knows the style of it, and that's what makes him kind of the easiest fill-in person to deal with, because he doesn't try to do a show that's different than ours and way off base. And when Shay said he talked about Seinfeld for an hour, well, we do stuff like that all the time. We went off on Glenn Fry or whatever music we want to do, so Chris knows the style of the show.
He certainly does, and he is a regular fill-in for Dan. Well, we asked the Danettes who is their favorite substitute host. They told us. Let's play another edition of
Know Your Row!
Oh, hi. Hey, let's start with the front row. Seaton, who is Paulie's favorite fill-in host?
Oh, boy. I'm going to have to say Chris Mannix, right? I mean, he's kind of, we're all sort of similar ages, hang a little bit, get some beers and stuff like that. It's got to be Chris Mannix.
Hey, was it Chris Mannix?
I'm going to go Florio, even though he hasn't done it in a while, because Mike Florio came from a law side of the world and became a media guy, a print guy, and then he never did radio before, and he started on our show, and he worked very hard and got a lot better and got really strong. Now has his own radio show. So as much as I like Mannix, and he's a close number 2, as always, I'm going Mike Florio.
I may have answered that just to take a shot at Mannix. It's funny that I say Mannix is probably the best villain, and then moments later when I asked about it, I said a different name, which is pretty good. Standard with this game.
All right, to the back row.
Yes.
McLovin, who's Fritzy's favorite DP fill-in?
Fritzy likes to go middle of the road, which I would say probably Mannix, but I think Bonnie Bernstein is going to go to the front of the list for obvious reasons.
Wow.
Obvious reasons.
Was it the lovely Bonnie Bernstein?
My favorite regular guest host, and nothing, I don't want to slide into the others because I'm always worried about everybody's feelings, but I like Chris Mannix. He's always very loose, very comfortable, and he's just, he tries booking some of his own guests, so I personally appreciate that he actually makes the effort to try to line up some guests, which makes my life a lot easier. But yeah, he's one of the boys, and we've known him for a long time as a guest and as a guest host. I'm going to say Chris Mannix.
Yeah, that Bonnie is a great choice, and I don't know how that slipped my mind. So we should have won that one. That was an oversight on my part. I think McLovin had his head in the right place there.
Well, when I send a Twitter direct message to Bonnie after the show,
don't do that to me.
You will. She's going to be very hurt.
She did it. She's done a great job with the show, and I probably now hindsight's 2020.
It's
Bonnie
too late.
is a great choice, but I'm going to stick with. I'm going to stick with Mannix. Mannix is.
All right, one
Mannix
more
is
for the
very
front
strong.
row. Paulie, who does Seaton like to see step in for DP?
I'm going to go AJ DeLorio and Will Leach from their Deadspin days. It was only a one-timer, but I think Seaton really loved it because it gave us a chance to take them to task a little bit.
All right, was it those fellas?
Wrong guess.
I guess it's got to be Mannix, because he's sort of one of the bros. He's a good dude, a lot of fun, doesn't like Andrew. All the things that are important around here.
They're so good, we never asked them. Yeah,
that was just an out of my...
Anyway, okay, wait, edit. Here. Yeah, Will and AJ, that was pretty funny because they smoked about 15 packs of cigarettes that day and be like, oh, we got a break? Okay, go down. But Mannix is sort of the guy now, right? I mean, he's pretty much the stand-up.
Well, when you ask us a question like, who's our favorite fill-in host, and we have one, There's not going to be a lot of variety to our answers because Florio can't do it anymore, and we don't really have anyone else who's a regular fill-in host. So
that is a tough question.
That being said, none of us have guessed the right answer.
All right, last one is for the back row. Fritzy, McLovin's top guest host is...
My initial thought was Glenn Ordway or Mike Heller, but I'm going to go off the board with our guest host for draft coverage next week. I'm going to go because he's a big NFL guy. I'm going to say he's all about Ross Tucker.
Good guess.
Boom,
Good
great
guess.
guess.
Ooh, was it Ross Tucker?
All about NFL.
Like Heller.
My favorite regular guest host is impossible to answer because when Dan is out, my heart hurts, and I can't overcome that.
Skitzer.
No, Ed.
Sorry, guys. I guess I'm the only one who loves Dan Patrick. I guess I'm the only Dan Patrick fan.
We guess that right.
Excuse.
Actually, you should have guessed that.
I should have just, I should have just said he's not going to answer that. It's Dan or nobody.
I was going to go with Mike Heller or Glenn Ordway.
I knew it.
Who I love, actually. All those guys are great. All our fill-ins are great.
All right, well,
None
we
of them
have
are Dan.
tallied the scores, gentlemen. And, of course, there can be only one winner. Tim Kawakami.
Tim Kawakami.
Oh, looks good.
We got to get that guy in studio.
All right, don't go away. Could the guys be looking for greener pastures? Maybe. How would they get there? It has to be in a Ram heavy duty. With its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, this boy can take you to any job, any day of the week. I bet Tim Kawakami has one. Guts, glory, Ram.
I would assume that people have approached you guys because you guys are great at what you do. I understand that. Plus, what we do is what others are trying to do, and we make it look a lot easier than what it really is. They would grab you guys, or at least, they would try to emulate what you're doing, and what better way to do that than just take one of you guys. I understand that.
We are closing up shop here on the box score. The boss handed you guys a nice big old compliment there, saying that you were in high demand all over the place. Now, Fritzy, you're often accused of wanting to go off to greener pastures. Did that soften the blow a little?
It does. I am often accused of that, but there's no news to report here. But hearing Dan say that, I guess I took a little comfort in that. I'll let the other guys weigh in. But I initially thought, and I still kind of think that, even in spite of what Dan said, that the reaction would be a lot harsher if anything directly or indirectly was discussed about looking at other opportunities. I think that as much as Dan would want to be happy for us and try to be supportive, there's that very competitive side. If we went to some other sports talk show or something that he deemed as some type of competitor to his own empire, I do not think that would go well, and you probably wouldn't hear from Dan much for the rest of your life at that point.
Wow, I think these stakes may have gotten a little higher because Paulie had a great idea with potential job offers moving forward.
How about this? If one of us gets a job offer or a job broaching, we only bring it to you on the air. And we do it on the air. Because it's not very entertaining to do it off the air.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Can I call people on the air to follow up on this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's your show.
All right. But if some other radio show or some other network.
What the hell are we doing? Lost our minds?
Awkwardness.
Yes, but it'll be good radio. Content, Seton. That's what it's all about.
Content is king, Dan.
Content is king. That would be, I've rethought my position on that. And it would be pretty great to see everybody squirming. Although, when I often think about my own personal job, my prospects and future employment, because eventually one day Dan is going to retire, and unless I start making a hell of a lot more money, I'm going to still need to work. And I just don't know if branding myself as some sort of foul-mouthed, alcoholic, drug-taking loser for the last 8 years was really the best career move.
I wouldn't say loser. I'd leave that word out.
Forward.
Wow, that's a little harsh.
Yeah, and sometimes you sort of rethink things. You're like, wow, maybe
Well, but whose persona is going to be the
You want to be the nervous, sweaty, pervy, runs to the bathroom all the time guy? That can't be good. I don't think that's on the top of the.
You don't like when you open the want ads. There's almost never that.
No,
description.
I could see myself going to a future job interview. Oh, I remember that show. You're the guy that looks at the porn magazines and masturbates at the hotel with the towel, and
But they know your work. That means you're famous.
You're nervous. You're constantly running to the
speak
bathroom.
in terms of branding, this is how we've branded ourselves. I'm not sure that we're coming out on the winning end of these things here.
Yeah, I think
You're kind of typecast.
Yeah, I think they've got they got the red pen, they got the list of names and the resumes, and they're like, well, definitely not him.
I think it goes without saying. We just pray to God any future employer has never seen the box score. That goes without saying.
I think this shows we could discuss. We could
I think the box score is fine. It's everything else that happens from 9 to noon Eastern that's a real issue for me.
This has been extremely insightful and mostly cathartic. Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
We'll be in our New York City Mancave. Glenn Fry, co-founder of the Eagles, Hall of Fame musician, stops by. Jesse Palmer of ESPN, college football analyst, talks some NFL as well with us. Get ready for the draft next week. Robert Klimko of the MMQB.com, fine NFL writer, will be with us in studio as well. So we've actually got 3 guests tomorrow, all in studio. It's a lot better than my
Phones
2
will
guest
not
performance
matter
today.
a lot.
Phone, I don't have to worry about any technical things, although we have to make sure the people get into the building and the guests actually physically show up, which is a whole other set of obstacles. That's right.
And Glenn Fry sings a
we'll
song
we're
for
looking
your
okay
son's
so far.
bar mitzvah. This is going to be awesome. Okay, thanks. We're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239. The podcast is available on iTunes or at podcast1.com. Thanks for watching The Box Score.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!